Okay, it's 9 o'clock for me. It's 3 o'clock for you. So let me start. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever in the world you are, I am in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So today's topic is going to be about, this is a continuation from the last time. It's going to be about the state of the non-white communities in South Africa. Hi. So non-white communities would be Indian, colored, and black. And although South Africa now, anyone can live in any community, I just want to focus on these three. And the only reason I call them Indian, black, colored is just because in certain areas, that racial group will be predominantly will be predominantly colored. Okay, hi everybody. And also what I'm doing is I want to focus, like the last time, on the middle class type townships, communities. Okay, I don't want to talk about like the squatters, like the very, very poor people, because I first want to fix these townships, because once we get these done, then we can help other people, because you must always help yourself first, then you can help other people. I'm also not targeting the rich ones, because that's a different issue that goes on there. Okay, hi. Oh, I see Nayati is also I see some of you are regulars. Okay, so because I don't know who is black here, I don't know who is colored, and I don't know who is Indian. So you are going to have to tell me, because I need to know. I'm going to ask questions and then you all can answer. You can answer here, hi, or you can come into the box. But when you are in the box, I have to be very strict. You have to follow whatever we are talking about. Otherwise, it goes all haywire, okay? So the first thing is, because, like I said, so I assume you all, I don't know, because maybe some of you are living in the former white suburbs. Okay, so I'm not talking about those communities. I'm talking about the townships. Like if you're in Cape Town, it would be like Mitchell's Plain and Elsies Rivier and the Cape Flats area. And then the black townships would be like Khayelitsha and Guguletu. If you're in Johannesburg, it would be like Reveille and Bosmont and New Clare and Western. I know those all because I come from the Eldorado Park. For colored townships, for black, it would be like Soweto, Mamelodi, Alexandra Township, all those kind of places, okay? I don't know about Durban. Durban is probably, I think, Westville, colored. I don't know about the Indian. Joburg would be Lenasia for Indian. So I don't know much about Indian townships, because I never see Indians complaining. Never, ever. I'll see coloreds, especially from Cape Town. I never see from Joburg either. Coloreds from Cape Town, and then I see black people from like just everywhere complaining about the state of the townships, the state that they are in. So I think first thing I want to do is let's identify the issues in the colored townships, because so far from what I've seen and what I see online is that they say crime, and we can go into what type of crime. If you want to write, hi everybody who joined, if you want to write whatever you think there is, or if you want to come into the box. Crime is one, and then disorganized, like especially like the way the taxis operate, the way people just loaf all over the place. So there's like no structure to the place, right? And then also just the way, let's say the look of the place, what it looks like, like the streets are maybe not swept high, and the pavements, there's things on the pavement, and some people just hang their washing everywhere, whatever, things like that. And then the last thing would be some are just dirty. Okay, like hi everybody, thanks for the like. Some are just dirty with a lot of rubbish all over the place, and like people don't care, they just throw they eat and they just dump things there, or the the dump truck just dumps things. Okay. Hi, I see a lot of new people as well. And I see some people from before. Okay, so if anybody wants to, the things I've listed there, if anybody wants to talk about your township or township that you know of where I've talked about any of these issues here, and tell me what is the problem like in your area or in an area that you know of relating to these problems. So like I said, it's crime, it's that I know of, disorganized, like taxis doing their own thing, not following rules, and then people just loafing around, and then the overall look of the place, you know, it's not well kept. Also services, sorry, last one would be services, okay, but that would be from the municipality. And then that it's filthy. It's more, I'm talking more about things that the actual residents in the community are doing, not so much the government. Services is government, but I'll still put it here, okay? Services. Hi. So if anybody wants to say anything about what I've just mentioned here, and if you're not from South Africa, that's fine. You can listen, because maybe you can give us ideas about how certain things we can organize. So does anyone have anything to say? Would anyone like to comment? Okay, I see message here. Maybe it's someone who wants to come into the box. No, I don't see anyone who wants to come into the box. But I see a new message. Okay, let me check. Oh, okay. So no one is requesting to be invited, although I have 2 new messages. Where do I look for that message? Okay. Let me see. Someone said something. Yeah, community insights. I said we are talking about township community insights. So I'd like to hear from you people about any of the issues I've just listed. Tell me what you see. Okay, so while I'm waiting for you, I'll tell you what I see. Now remember, I'm talking about a middle class community. What I've seen, and I'm talking about one in Johannesburg. Some of them are very good. A lot of the townships actually in Johannesburg are actually quite, the colored ones, okay, are not in such bad shape, but some are, you know, okay, right. So first thing I usually hear about is the crime, okay, and the type of crime will be drugs, okay, and then there will be theft, and then there's breaking in, then there's domestic violence. If it gets worse than that, murder, then gangsterism, which will be guns and knives. This is now really getting like from bad to worse. Okay, so this is the type of crime I'm seeing. So let me write all of that down so that in case I forget. What did I say? I said I see, so for crime, I see drugs. I see high after drugs. That is like always the first one, drugs, then theft. Oh, burglary, because theft and burglary is different. Domestic violence, rape, murder, gangsterism. I can't think of what other crimes people commit, but these are normally the ones that I see. Assault. So, and then in the place that I'm thinking of, this community, the biggest thing there is theft. Theft meaning, you know, like you'll be walking and then someone will steal your handphone, you know, or steal something that's on you. Oh, there's also carjacking. Oh, I forgot about that. Carjacking. Okay? First thing I will see, well, in this one, the crime that's committed the most is usually theft. You know, stealing of petty theft, you know, like handphones, taking people's wallets, their watches, their chains, their earrings, things like that. Okay? That's the first thing in where I see. The second thing would be drugs, because there'll be people selling the drugs, and then there'll be drug addicts loafing around. That's very common in this area. Oh, and also alcohol. And usually with the alcohol will come the violence. Violence, okay? Fighting. And then assault will happen. Okay? And then domestic violence. So, you know, it trickles. One thing will trigger something else. Okay? Then it's a trickle effect. So if anybody here wants to just give me, maybe can tell me what's happening in your area, if you know of anything that is happening. Let's say we're starting with a crime, because I want to go step by step so that we can see what we can do about it. But I do need your input, because I don't just want to be talking. And there's only one person left, is it? Or is it 3 people? There's 2 people. And if anybody wants to come into the box to talk to me about it, let me know. Hi. Zero's there. Maybe Zero, you want to come into the box to speak to me. Do you want to? If you want to, just request and then I'll accept. Today I'm talking about communities, non-white communities, black, colored, Indian. What is happening there? So I already said that the things that are happening in these communities, there's crime, there's disorganization, which is the taxis, people loafing. Then there's just the overall look, what it looks like. You know, there's broken cars just outside. It's like in disarray. People don't care about, like, the plants are not being taken care of. You know, the plants is like outside your pavement. And then also it's very dirty because people just litter. Okay, and then we're starting with the first one, which is crime. So if anybody wants to share about a community, your community, or communities that you know of where there is crime, because I'm starting with crime, and then maybe give a story about it so that we can maybe see what we can do about it. Because under crime, I was talking, there's drugs, theft, burglary, domestic violence, rape, murder, gangsterism, assault, carjacking, alcohol abuse, violence. If anybody has anything flash go already. If anybody has anything they want to share, that would be very helpful. Oh, thank you, the people who sent roses to the live. Thank you so much. Okay, nobody's talking. I see a lot of people here, though. No, I see three here. So everybody says hi and then they leave. Okay, that's okay. How do I get rid of this now? I just need to see what this is. Okay, I've pinned my flash go. Oh, this is not working. Just hold on. Sorry. While I'm doing this, maybe you can think about what you want to say. Why is this not working? It's not working. I don't know what's going on. Hi, all the new people. I see a lot of new people coming in, but I only see 3. Thank you so much for the gifts. Does anyone want to come into the box? Okay, so nobody wants to talk to me, so I will talk. So I want to start with, I'll just go down the list. So because I want to start with crime. Now, normally what happens is, it depends on the type of crime that is being committed. And we always have to identify in communities, why is the crime happening? Is it because of poverty? You know, this person is so poor that they have to steal. Because they're so poor, they become very angry, so that's why they fight and they assault, and then maybe they join a gang, which is another problem, because maybe they just want to belong, that's why they join a gang. And then, or is it just morality? You see, because poverty can drive people to crime, okay? Can, because of the situation. You know, they want money, they need to eat, things like that. The other thing is just morality. High, which means lack of respect. They cannot control their behavior. Maybe they just, it's also the character. You know, they're just violent kind of people. They like to have their own way. They don't have discipline. So things like that. Okay, so let's say we're talking about the reason they're doing it is because of poverty. Now, if you are living in a middle class community, because this is the communities I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about the poor, like I said, I'm not talking about the squatter camps. So if you're talking about the middle class communities, if there is poverty, even in the middle class, because, you know, sometimes, although they live in the middle class because they can afford a house there, they can afford to pay the rent or whatever, pay their bond and whatever every month. But maybe the father spends the money on alcohol or on car parts or whatever. So then there's less money. So it kind of, hi everybody, it will cause it will then cause poverty. It will cause the family to be poor, of course, because there's less money, right? Because he's busy. I'm just giving an example, okay? He's busy spending the money. And then this will lead the children in the house maybe to start stealing, because, you know, they want something so they can't get it. So they steal. So that can drive that, okay? So that would be the reason for that. Those crimes then would be poverty for the children, and then for the father, it would be morals. It would be a morality issue, because he is not in control of himself, because he's spending the money on alcohol instead of spending it on his family. I think you'll understand, right? Because I'm sure, I don't know how old everybody here is. I'm just assuming everyone is a young adult, like under 30, okay? Right. Although even nowadays, let's say under 25, okay? Right. So the first thing you have to do with crime is you have to identify what is driving it. Okay, like I said, so it's either, in most cases, it will be poverty or just low morals. Okay, morals and character, the character of the person, that will also drive it. Because some people are just wired like that, okay? Which is very rare, but it does happen. So again, if anyone has any story to share about things that are happening in your community, especially around crime, like whether it is theft, drugs, anything, okay? Like, so now the one that I spoke about now was theft, okay? The scenario, the hypothetical scenario made up where the father maybe drinks and then the children in the house. And when I say children, I'm talking about from age 8 upwards, you know, where they start this kind of behavior where they want something. Like my nephew, one of my nephews, he was 21, and he had this jacket, a bomber jacket. And then his friend, they all good friends, 3 of them, they were at the friend's house. And then the friend, he took off his jacket and hung it behind the chair. And then when they were sitting, and then when he wanted to go home, the jacket was gone. And then he accused, you know, one of his friends for stealing it. And, you know, then there was like some argument, but then finally he like just went to his friend's cupboard and he took it out and he found it and he put it on and he said, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, blah, blah, blah. And he left. And as he was walking down the street, the two friends came and shot him under the arm here. So, it went into the heart. No, I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about crime. No, I'm not talking to myself because but I've got people sitting in front of me here. Yeah, there's other people here. Because I'm teaching a class. I teach here and then they are here. Okay? But because this is about South Africans, these people sitting here are not South Africans, but they're just listening. Okay? And it's not about race. I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about crime. This moment, I'm talking about crime. Yeah. Anyway, and then they shot my nephew. He managed to get into the house, but of course he died. Okay? But you see, just theft. Stupid. So then the theft became murder. You see? So that's what I'm saying. One thing can drive another thing. So this I know happens in communities. And then I know, like my friend's son, they were playing Russian roulette, and he was unfortunate. He got the bullet to the head. They want to see you guys. No, it's not. Sorry, no, it's not allowed. Okay, and you don't call me auntie. Call me Celeste. Yeah, call me Celeste. Okay, right. So, and I don't know why that is such an issue to you. What you can do is you answer my questions here if you want. And don't bother about other people. Okay? Just worry about yourself. Right. So like I was saying, na chaka? Na chaka? Sorry, it's not allowed because it's a school. It's not allowed. It's people from a particular school. It's not allowed. Sorry. Maybe next time. Maybe not this group. You want to speak about immigration? No, we're not doing immigration. We're doing community. We're talking about community now. Okay, because how we can fix our community. So the first thing that people always talk about, they say there is crime in the non-white communities in South Africa. So that's why I'm trying to see, because everybody, whenever we're talking, they always talk about, the colored townships are so bad, and the black townships, and the crime is so high. And even though the white people always talk about, the black communities are the crime and crime. So that's what I want to talk about. But it seems like there is no such thing because nobody's talking about it. Because every time you see when people complain to the, okay, you mean illegal immigration? Okay, yes, okay, that's okay. I see what you mean. Illegal immigration. Yes. Okay, so what do you want to say about the immigration? Do you want to say something about it? If you want to come in the box, it's also fine, or if you just want to type here. But you are right. Illegal immigrants also cause a lot of the crime. A lot. What does that equals no crime? What is the yellow, orange, and what country is that? Yeah. Anyway, yes. Illegal immigrants, yes, because what happens with them is they are already illegal. So just the fact that they're illegal is already a crime. And then what they do is, because, they have a different kind of culture, different kind of behavior, the way they do things will be different. And then it's an annoyance for the locals, and then fighting can start, assaults, and also they will start their little gangs. Anyone else has anything to say about that? Who's that wanted to talk about the illegal immigrants? What more did you want to say about the illegal immigrants and crime? I don't know what this McIntyre guy is showing. I don't know what flag that is. Looks like the apartheid flag, if you ask me, but I don't know, I might be wrong. Nobody has anything to say about any of the kind of crime. Okay, then there's also a lot of drug trafficking, and also people buying the drugs, which is a lot of the illegal immigrants doing that. That's trafficking the drugs. We know that those people have problems in their countries. I believe that we should help them. If they're illegal, then no. We cannot help them if they are illegal. Because if they're illegal, they have to go back to their own countries. That's how it normally works. Because to be illegal means it's a crime. So if you're helping them, that means you are an accomplice to the crime. You're an accomplice to the crime. Oh, why are you putting an apartheid flag on the? You don't know that the apartheid is a human violation and it's a crime against humanity. Yeah, I'm very surprised that South Africans don't know that. How come? Are you guys young? You all didn't know that? Huh? What is this? I do have. I don't understand what you mean. I do have. The lack of policing is the problem. Okay, that's one problem. Lack of, I write here, okay, lack of policing. Because then we need to go through and see what we're going to do about it. Farm murders is also a human violation. Yes, we're talking about crime. Yes. So whether it's a farm murder or I'm talking about colored communities now, okay? Today's topic of conversation is the crime that is happening in non-white communities. So everybody here, let's not hijack the topic of conversation. If the crime is happening at the border, don't talk about it. If the farm is in a colored community, we can talk about it. If it's not, we're talking about colored, black, and Indian communities. That's what we want to talk about. Okay, so let's not hijack any of the issues here. And we don't care what color the person is that's getting killed also, because even on farms, black people get killed. But we're not talking about the race of the person. We're just talking about crime in these communities. Okay? Right. No, there are people getting murdered on the farm, but I don't want to continue with this conversation because that's not the conversation. Okay? Also, no swearing. If you don't mind, Damon, because, we are respectable people here. There's no peasants here. No, nobody here is a peasant. Everybody here is very respectful. Okay, lack of funding. What do you mean lack of funding? Crime is happening because of lack of funding. Funding for what? Lack of funding for what? What do you mean? If anyone wants to come into the box, just request to come in, okay? If you want to talk to me in the box. Okay, because I said there's normally 3 things that lead people to crime. One is poverty, or not having money, and then one is morality and immorality, and one is character. Okay, let me see, someone wants to come in. Okay, accept. I've accepted you. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, thank you. Just 1 second.
I'm
Kurt, that's a
okay.
good point. Kurt has a good point. Okay, I'll get back to him. Okay, please go on. I'm going to call you Liswe.
Uh,
Very long.
call me, call me Marcus.
Marcus.
So
Okay,
that's the
Marcus,
name
go
of
ahead.
the organization that we are busy on.
Okay, Marcus.
Okay,
Okay.
you see, we've got a lot of foreigners in our country, and sometimes I sit down and look at it, and I found myself not to blame them of what they are doing in our country, but only that I can blame them to jump in without proper documents. But in terms of starting business, doing business left and right, I blame our own government. And I've got a story to tell.
Okay.
And I wish one day I could be given a platform to actually tell all the South Africans how it has happened prior 1994. You know, we as black people in South Africa, we have never given an opportunity to run businesses in our country, and the bank were not assisting small businesses, as everyone will know. And after 1994, it was promises of assisting small businesses, especially those that were, couldn't get before 1994, which are the majority, which are black and Indian, colored and so forth. But now, here we are, after 30 years, we are still talking. There is no action. Actually, there is action in a public TV whereby you hear the president said there is so much that has been allocated for small business, of which the money does not get to the ground.
Okay, but
So,
I need to
and
stop you here.
those
because-
kind,
Can I stop
sorry?
you quickly? I just need to stop you because I want to talk about the crime in the community.
Yeah, but that's where the crime comes from. I was just lending. That's where the crime comes from, because now we find those that come from outside the country, they've taken over the business that our people were supposed to run, and now we've got majority of people that are not working in.
Can I ask
You
a
can call
question?
it townships. That,
Sorry, can I ask a
Sorry?
question? But how can these illegal immigrants take over the business?
I mean, if I've got a shop, like myself, I've got a shop, but
Okay.
I do not have money to stock, to put whatever that is needed in my shop. I've got an undertaker. I don't have equipment to run my business. Then I ended up giving to someone that is supporting by his government in a foreign country. That does not have a person that does not have a proper document. But just because his government from foreign government assisting their people in a foreign country, but here is my government cannot assist his own people. I've got property, I've got ID, I'm a citizen of this country. If I want to go and ask for assistance in my business, then I'll be asked. They will ask me a Bible.
Right. Okay.
Bring Hennessy, bring after Hennessy, bring Deuteronomy, bring this and that and that. It's endless up until you give up. I've been looking for funding for the past 30 years.
Right. Okay. So I hope
You see.
I hope the Damon or Damon or whatever is hearing this, because I find there's some people who think that non-white people, or especially black people, life is so easy because the government just gives them things. But here is someone telling us that no, it doesn't work that way. Okay. So I see that's one of the things is that you say, like, it's because so crime happens in what you are saying is crime is happening because, first of all, illegal immigrants, that's already a crime. And then the crime is that they start running these businesses, which is also illegal, because if you're an illegal person, there's no way you should be allowed to run a business. And then the crime is actually starting from the top, because the government is also being criminal because they're not doing anything about it. It's like a trickle down.
That's true.
Okay. So that's one of the problems you all are having in the communities, right?
Yeah, and people in the community will resonate to do crime, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to eat.
Right.
Those that have something, they will end up losing everything, because the majority do not have, and they cannot go to bed hungry.
Right. So in your community, it's poverty that's driving the crime.
That's very true.
Okay, and then your community, because remember I said to everybody, I want to talk about middle class communities. So is that a middle class community, or is that like a more lower class community?
Middle class are not much, but they are those that, the middle class will run away and go and stay somewhere safer in town, and leave the ones that are low
Okay, so this is
on
more of a lower
townships.
class community.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I don't want to, because you see, why I don't want to talk about that community today, because I'll come to that community another day, because it's different issues. Because I want to talk about, you see, because I don't know if you all know of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's this triangle where right at the bottom is basic needs: shelter, food, safety. Then the next tier will be like something else. Then the third tier is normally middle class. So I don't want to talk about these that don't even have basic, like you saying they don't even have food. That's why they steal. I want to talk about these that already they have food, they have a house, they have a job, yet there's still crime. The crime is still high in those communities. Like if I think about Cape Town, if I think about the Cape Flats in Cape Town, Mitchell's Plain, because there are communities in there that are middle class, but the crime, the gangsterism is so high.
But I hear you. But at the end of the day, you may look with that scope of, let's say, Cape Town, on the in the area. What I can tell you is that out of those communities, you find that out of a family of 10, it is only one that is working,
Right. Right.
and that one afford maybe to take a family and pay a rental house,
Right.
but
Okay.
the rest are not working.
Right.
So
Right.
the rest are not working. They must depend on one person that is now pulling hard to take the family forward.
Right.
You see,
Right.
now those, if maybe he's got siblings, about 9 siblings, 8 siblings or so, they will at the end start doing things that are not right for them trying to make a living.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So in this case, like I said, the crime is driven by theft. I mean, the crime is driven by poverty. So it is not driven by immorality, which means it's not that, because, a lot of a lot of cases, people, let's say they will steal, not because they're poor, but like when I gave the example of my nephew, it's not because they're poor. It's just because they want something that other person has. Like they'll steal they'll stop someone and take their
Yes, yes.
handphone, and they'll take their rings and their earrings and their jacket. And it's not that at home they have food, they have everything. They just don't have money to buy those, like that gold ring. So they
Yeah,
steal it, or
yes.
you
For a
see.
good, yeah, the good example we can just give to an example of the people that are working in our municipalities. You name them. I mean, in government, that are even taking a lot, not even stealing something that you and I can go and steal, but they can steal millions out of
Yeah, they
the
steal.
pocket
Yeah.
of the taxpayers.
Right,
You
right,
know,
right. Okay, but I want to talk about the things we can control, like immediately. Like immediately. Like let's say in my house, if everybody there is food, not the best, but we are eating, we have shelter, we have clothes. But my child will still go outside, and I'll see him come back with a new phone, and then it's like, where did you get that phone? Oh, no, no. And then I find out he stole it. things like that. And then because all these petty crimes that start like that, and then in a few years' time, he's going bigger. He's stealing cars. Not that he needs to steal a car, but because he has his little car, but no, he now wants to steal a BMW, so he goes and carjacks. You know what I mean? I'm talking about
Yeah, no.
like within
Yeah,
the
that is a
community.
different.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
no, that is a
understand about
different
the
one.
government and the municipality. That I understand, but I'm trying to get it to this level. The things that we can start to control and to help ourselves, like because we know the government is useless. Forget about them; they are totally useless. Like you say, they just there to steal things from everybody. So yeah, so I want to see also if anybody else. But thank you. You can stay in if you want, but thank you for your input.
No, thank you very much because I'm still working.
Oh, you
I'm
still
in
at
the
work?
shop at least. Thank you for giving me the opportunity just to say what I've said.
Yes, and
Yeah,
I'm
thank you a
gonna
lot.
keep in mind what you said about the illegal immigrants. How they government support them, and then our people. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I
Enjoy your
see
day.
you,
Bye.
Peter. Hi, hi. Okay. Thank you. Right. Okay. So you heard what he said there about the illegal immigrants, right? How they have a heads up because their governments will support them with money, and then when they come to South Africa, they can just take over. Okay. So also, so you'll know what I'm trying to say, right? That sometimes people commit crime because of poverty, and sometimes it's just bad morals, and sometimes it is just the character of the person. So, like the examples I gave is poverty. Even he said, like, maybe they don't have food, like because there's 10 people in the house, only one is working. So then the others go out and then they go and because they need to eat, so they steal things and they sell it to buy food. Okay, now this is a different thing. Okay, because that's survival. I'm not talking about people doing things to survive. I want to talk about people who do things because it is immoral. Like the other example I gave you, like with my nephew, it's just because these guys wanted that particular jacket. They have food at home, they have shelter, they have everything. It's just that their parents are not going to buy them that jacket because it's expensive. So what do? They decide they're just going to steal it. Or like I said, there's some people, they like to carjack and they carjack only BMWs and all that kind of stuff. It's not that they have a car, but because they want a BMW. I'm sure you'll know what I mean. Others will stop people in the street and steal their handphones, steal their jewelry, steal their purses. Yes, somebody said, yeah, poverty has become a scapegoat for the rampant crime. Exactly. Exactly. Because I know also a lot of people who drug traffic and they get caught in other countries. And then they will say, oh, it's because I'm so poor and blah, 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 blah. No, it's not because they're poor. It's because they have shelter and everything, but then they get told, if you take this for me, you'll get 50,000 US dollars or something like that. So they'll risk it. Okay. Oops, sorry, my phone just fell. Okay, so that's a morality issue. Do you understand what I mean? It's something lacking in your morals that you would rather commit the crime than do without that thing, because your survival does not depend on having that nice jacket or wearing that nice gold ring. Your survival does not depend on it. Are you getting what I'm trying to say here? Because what I'm trying to eventually get to is someone. Okay, I'll accept Ashwil. Let me bring Ashwil in. Okay, I'm waiting for Ashwil to come in. Hi, I don't hear Ashwil. Are you there? I still cannot hear. Okay, when you're ready, just talk. Okay, you just say I'm ready. Okay, I'll talk in the meantime. But I'd like to hear what you have to say. I think you're probably setting up. Okay, yeah. So so the thing is, what I really want to get down to today, let's say, because now we're talking just about crime. Okay, now remember, there's all kinds of crimes. Like I said, there's drug theft, burglary, domestic violence, rape, murder, gangsterism, assault, carjacking, abuse of alcohol, violence. Okay, these are all crimes, right? So, like I say, sometimes people commit crimes because of poverty, but I don't really want to talk about poverty. I want to talk more about people in our communities committing crimes because of low morals, because lack of discipline, control, respect, goals, vision. All this is lacking. They only think about themselves. I want to talk about that because these are things that we have control of and we can change, whether it's in ourselves, or if you're a parent or a sibling, you can start in your own home. Like if there is someone in your family that has this kind of character, because you can start there. Or even if it's your neighbor, your friend at school, your friend at university, your cousin, because it has to start from you and then the immediate people around you. Okay, and then because I was speaking to some people, because back in the day, we used to have youth leaders in our communities. Now, as a child, I used to always go, we used to meet at the recreational center, and then the youth leaders used to come from Wits. And that time they were all white. And they were studying social sciences. So they would come to the community, and they would teach us, like extracurricular activities. They would teach us about things like morals and whatever the current thing was. Okay. And then there was also the UDF, but they were teaching more about our rights, about our country, our proper history of the non-white people, about politics, because, they were preparing us to overthrow the government. Okay. Which we did. Yay. Okay. Anyway. So now you don't have these kind of leaders anymore. You don't have youth leaders in the community. Because I asked some of my friends, they say no, because I don't stay in the colored community anymore. I don't stay in the communities. Okay. So they say you don't have this anymore. So I'm thinking maybe it's time that there should be this program where you start having youth leaders. And youth leaders are normally, I remember when I became a youth leader, when I became one, because I was always just like a student going, I was 16. But because I was and the program was called Witsco, because it's Wits, University of Wits. In Cape Town, it was called Shawco. I can't remember what Shaw stands for. But when I was in Cape Town, I was also a youth leader in Cape Town under Shawco. When I was in Johannesburg, under Witsco. Johannesburg from 16 to 18, I was with Witsco. Shawco, I was with them from 18 to 21. I was a youth leader. And it was once a week, and every week the main leaders would give us the curriculum for the activity. And like my activity was always movement related, because I'm from the dance background. Okay. But so the topic we had to discuss was always, we have to do the topic and then we'll do dancing about the topic. Other people did other things, like my friends, my one friend who's a guy, they would do like with sports, kind of sports thing, like whether you're teaching discipline or whatever. Okay. So I'm thinking we have to start thinking in that way of how to help in the community to bring down the crime levels, because the crime, we have to start with the young people, because all this crime that's been committed now already, most of it I'm sure is by people between 18 and 30, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me in your community. Yeah, you guys are not talking. Tell me in your community, what is the age group of people who are committing most of the crime. Doesn't matter what crime it is. Big, small, doesn't matter. How old are they usually? Because I know in Cape Town, it's the gangs. And they're between 18 and, well, some of them as young as 16. So I'd say 16 to 35. They're about in that age range. What about in your communities? Okay, someone, let me see. If you want to come in the box, just ask to be invited and I'll bring you in. Today, nobody's talking. I see 8 of you. But I like what Diploma here said. Poverty has become a scapegoat for the rampant crime. That is so true. That is so true. Because you see, your morals should dictate your behavior. Not, I know it's hard for us to understand this because, our stomachs are full. But not the state of your stomach. That should not determine your morals. Because if you are hungry, you can ask for food. Because I'm sure in the community, any of the communities, I'm sure if somebody is hungry and they come ask for food, I'm sure those who have food will give. I don't think anyone is that selfish that they will not give food to a hungry person. I don't think so. But I don't know. You all tell me if I'm wrong or right. If you are hungry, there is no need to go and steal from someone or kill them. But I've seen people ask for money because they say they're poor. Now, I would never give someone money when they ask for money because you know why? They will go and buy drugs or alcohol. And so I don't give, I'll give food. If they say, oh, I'm so hungry, give me money. I say, no, I'll buy you a meal. Sometimes I even buy groceries. I buy like a month's groceries for them. Like, the sardines that you can just open like that, all that kind of stuff. So does anybody want to add anything to that? Or anything any experience you've had, or any thing you want to add about when I say that most of the crime is happening because of low morals? Because the people who commit the crime are not, it's low morals and or character. Because some people, it's just their character. They just like to, maybe they just like to steal because they're kleptomaniacs, or they just like to hurt people, or, or they just like to cause chaos. See a lot of people joining, nobody interacting. Does anyone have anything to say? Because let's look at drugs. The people who are trafficking drugs in your community, the ones who are selling drugs. Why are they selling drugs? Are they hungry? Or do you think they're selling it because they want to look nice? They want to have nice clothes and look good and have a nice car. Why are they selling the drugs? Why do you think? Do you think it's because they're hungry, or do you think it's because they want to eudenize? They want to have flashy things. Which one do you think it is? Okay, nobody's saying anything, so I go on. So I want to go back to what I was talking about, the youth leaders. So it would be good, let's say if it is a moral thing, which I think it is, it would be good if every community starts thinking about setting up youth leaders. And I mean, you can do it yourself. You can even do it at your home, where you invite some children from the neighborhood, maybe from your street that you see maybe need a little bit of direction. 5 of them, you ask them every Tuesday, you come to my house. I'm going to give you, we'll have cake and cold drink or whatever. And then when they're there, you'll do exercises like I'm doing now with you. You do exercises about how to behave, how not to take other people's things, how not to be violent, things like that. And you can make it fun. Oh, sorry, I keep doing that. You can make it fun. You can make it exciting. That's one way of doing it. And that we normally call, hi, Lois, how are you? We normally call that an extracurricular activity, because this is the type of thing I do. Because I do social issues as an extracurricular activities. I do it in churches, in schools, in universities, and sometimes even with hi Farad, even with companies. Sometimes I even have to go into companies and talk about things like this. I'm good, thanks. The topic today, because I see some of you came late. The topic is we again talking about our communities, the non-white communities, the issues we are having there. And we have started on the issue of crime. Today, I'm based in Malaysia. I think for the next 3 months, I'll be based here. Because I'm doing something, I'm doing some studying here. Working out some programs, because I'm a curriculum developer, so I'm busy doing some curricula here. Okay. Yeah, so we are talking about crime in the communities. Let me see who wants to come on. Okay, I accept freshman Kumalo. Freshman, come on in.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay, thank you. You?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good.
I'm just gonna be short. I just want to answer in terms of the crime within the non-white communities. Okay, the other thing that I'm thinking that is affecting us like big time is that I'm not being somehow, but I think we don't have our jobs. And there's a friend of mine who is qualified, who did like universities and had qualifications, but then as time goes by, he ended up selling stuff or doing some other bad activities. So, like the factor is that most of our jobs might be taken. I'm not saying they are taken because I'm not sure about my search. Might be taken by our foreign nationals. So I think that could be the factor that could be affecting us, and to change it, I don't know, or to try to develop from it. I don't know if it could happen now, you know, and also the oppression. It does a bit affect, you know, us in the non-white community society.
But just hold on, let me close the door. Just hold on.
Not a problem.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry, because there's other people here. Okay, so you said the oppression. Say that part again.
Yes, I'm saying also oppression. It was one factor that led to crime. Like if you are oppressed, you necessarily don't focus on what you need to be focusing, like focusing on your life. You focus on the oppression. So oppression takes time. It's a thing that is long. It's a long process thing. So what I'm saying is oppression, it does affect us as a non white communities here.
Okay, thank you for that. And you are the second person who's talking about the illegal immigration that is also driving the crime rate. Yeah, you're the second person, and I'm sure there's gonna be more saying that, because even I agree with that. I agree with that.
Okay.
And the thing with the illegal
Celeste, can I be a dissecting voice in what you're just saying, you and Kumalo?
Okay, let me just
Okay.
let me just finish with him, then you can come in. Let me just finish with him.
No.
Yeah, and then
Okay, I don't want him to go down.
No, he's not going anywhere. He's staying here. Kumalo,
Okay.
you stay here, okay? Kumalo,
Yeah.
stay here.
What I'm trying to say to him, first of all, I don't want you to hear otherwise, because I am the example of what I'm going to talk about. for you to make a living, sometimes you don't need to be employed. And for you to make a living, I don't know, like the example you gave, your friend is a graduate. What did he study for? Is it in demand? Can he maybe on that field of himself then, pardon me, to wait for someone to give him bread? Like, Brul, let me tell you, I passed my matric 1994. I got employed in the SANDF. Then there is a department called Signal. On the outside, they call IT because you deal with assembling equipment and telecommunications and all those things. It's called Signal, but when you put in layman's term outside, it's IT. As I'm speaking with you, I'm saying it again. I did a course 2011, 2012, around that, N plus and A plus, it's IT. And I was already in this industry for almost 8 years when I did those courses, just to have some certificates that says Loiso has an N plus and A plus IT, which is an entry level. I'm self-employed. I don't go and say to someone, please give me this. I hustle. I have struggles like a normal person, but my children never go to sleep without a meal. One other thing, I don't dispute the fact that our government, as you say, is failing us, on the foreign issues, but on the businesses that are obeying what is called sectoral determination, which governs who must be employed and how many of, like, now there is what is called sectoral determination. You can employ these people and this, and it also goes also to color and all those things. That is sectoral determination, because that thing is trying to balance the imbalances of the past. Why do I say this? Whoever has a majority in his or her business, foreigners, that person is doing that illegal. That's why I think this year, if not early this year or sometime last year, they were going through restaurants, because the restaurants, like the main line, you go to the places like Wimpy, KFC, Nando's, they follow that, because those who are privately owned, like I spoke about it, if you remember, Celeste, that construction companies are privately owned, and those guys are breaking the rules because you find that they have majority foreigners. That is wrong according to South African law and constitution. You go to places like hospitality industry, hotels, B&Bs, game farms, and all these things. You find even there majority of foreigners. According to the law of South Africa, that is wrong. Then the question will be, what are as citizens? Because let me tell you, the person who's talking to you now is a pan-Africanist. That means I'm pro-foreigners. But when it's done illegally, it's not welcome anywhere. Anything that is done illegally, it's not. If you look at what was on those raids, on those restaurants, on all those things, when the people were following up, people were running, because they know you can't have in South Africa this amount of foreigners. Yes, to them is a cheap source of labor. They exploit them, they manipulate them, all these things, because they won't be like me. No, they are rights, and they know their rights and the things that they suppose, even what are called minimum wages. Yeah, these are the things that we need to look at. If you start something that is in demand. Okay, let me maybe say.
I think you've answered me so far. I think you've answered me very well, actually.
Okay, yeah, I just want to jump in here.
You're in depth, and I appreciate. Thank you. You can speak, Celeste.
Okay, yeah, sorry, and I just want to jump in here because The thing is that you see, when like I said, there's two things that can drive people to crime: poverty. Well, there's three things: poverty, character, and morals. Okay. Now, my thing is, let's say, like with your friend, I completely understand, unemployed. Maybe he's. But this is the thing: is that you see, when one's morals is very strong, you will not do things that is illegal, no matter what the circumstance. Okay, because this is what I'm trying to get for us to stop doing in the community. Because once we drop our morals, this is when we then kind of make excuses to do things. Okay, your morals have to
Correct.
be so intact that instead of doing something illegal, you try to go and, like I say, the only reason, the worst thing would be food, is hunger, because you need to survive, which when you're in a community, this is never a problem, because you can go ask your neighbor. Like I said, I'm sure someone will give you food. That I'm sure. They won't give you money, but they'll give you food. That I know. Okay. The other thing is, even if you, how downtrodden can you be? Because the worst would be you have no home and you have no food, and then you're just homeless. That is like on another level. But even in South Africa, we have what do you call these things? We have welfare and all that you can go to, and that I know they work quite well. They will take people in, or you can even go to the church if it's to that level. But like I said, I don't want to talk about those people. I'm talking about people who have shelter and they have food. The thing is
That's
to
correct.
resort to crime is when you have a house and you have food, is it's immoral. And we have to start by fixing our morals in our community. This is what I'm worried about, is the lack of morals. Okay, but I want to come in because I'm going to keep saying this. So let me bring in Fisto Fire. Fisto, can you come in, please?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Good afternoon to you all. Celeste, it's my first time on your platform,
Okay.
and the three of you spoke very well. Mr. Kumalo, Celeste, and Lois spoke very well. However, my take on this topic is no one glove fits all. Crime is categorized and is also differentiated, especially people who are doing it. It's different kinds of people. There is greed, there is poverty and hunger, and some other elements that maybe we did not mention here. However, when I look at the South African system, because even Mr. Lois and Kumalo, they spoke about education, people who are graduates, however, they find themselves doing crime. The crux and the problem of South Africa is the leadership. That's where everything begins. You can be morally okay and do everything right. However, if you don't get opportunities for employment and you are hungry, you've got kids, girlfriend, women, wife, husbands, you will find yourself doing a little bit of crime for you to buy bread and milk. That's where it begins. Now we lack leadership in South Africa, and this economic system that the South African government has chosen, it's totally wrong. And this phenomenon that we are actually discussing today, we are still going to discuss it for another 50 years from today, because of the system, economic system, the education system. There's a lot that needs to be dismantled, and people are led. We've got too many rights and too much rights here in South Africa that we didn't actually have to have as a country, as a young country developing and trying to find ourselves. Even racially, we are still not okay, and our politics in South Africa is still racially politics. It's not about values or maybe about ideology. It's still between blacks and white. Now, all those little elements, they will define our personality and character right now. You know, there are countries that the leadership, that they take control and you minimize certain rights and you direct people to certain direction, and you give opportunities. The duty of the government is to give opportunities to its own citizens. Then there will be a little bit of a crime done by people. Even our police are criminals today because of the economic system that is introduced, which is capitalist. Everybody wants to shine. Everybody wants to have a million. Everybody wants to drive and have a posh house. I'll just stop it here for now. But I just wanted to introduce a variety of elements that
Okay.
they drive people
Okay, thank you.
to.
So, everybody, like I said in the beginning, for this topic today, I want to leave what the government is doing and not doing out of the conversation. I want us to focus on what can we do to improve our communities, because like Fisto Fire just said now, the leadership, well, he didn't say these words, but I'll say the words. The leadership, useless. Okay, useless. So I want to focus on us taking the matters into our own hands, forget about them, and what can we do for our communities, for the people in our communities that need help, that need that extra help. What can we do for them without the government's help? Without the government's help, because Lois, I'm sure will back me up on this. During the apartheid, we were left alone, non-whites. So everything we did,
Yes.
we had to do for ourselves. We did not rely, because you cannot rely on the government. Everything the leadership was in the community. We had our own community leader, like our own president in our community that was making the decisions. And our church played a big part in that as well, especially my church, because I'm Catholic. Well, I used to be.
Celeste,
Sorry, let me just finish this first.
Celeste.
You can come in, Lois. Yeah. And so I'm
Yeah.
trying to get us back to that, because even as Fisto Fire said, again, I'll say it in my words, is that there's just too much. It's too, and my brother always says the Constitution is too sophisticated. You know, it's too, so it makes everybody, and he said the system makes everybody like kind of complacent. So you relying, everything is, I can't do this. Oh, the government has to do it for me. The government has to do, everything is the government. No, forget about the government. They are useless. We all know that. I don't even want to discuss the government anymore, because we all know they are useless. That's why you all know on my platform, those people who know me, I never talk, I don't bash the government, nothing, because to me, I've already put them aside because they're useless. I want us to think when we talk here, what can we do for ourselves and then for our community? That is why I said even like have youth leaders. Later I'm going to talk about fates to raise money. Like in our days we used to have fates. Once a week or once a month, the aunties will bake cakes and make biryanis and stuff, and we'll have a big, on a Sunday, like a big braai, and people will pay and buy things, and with that money we will beautify the park. And we didn't ask for the government to give money, because of course what they're going to give, we non-whites, we subhumans, they don't care about us. So as we go on from here now, let's try to focus on this. Okay, right? Okay, let me bring in who was next.
Yeah.
Sorry Lois. Yes,
Mm.
Lois, do you want to say something?
Yes, I want to say this. I agree with Fisto. Before you give Pumlani, sorry Pumlani, just a minute.
Pumlani?
Yeah, I agree with Fisto. Pumlani, mute the mic, and Fisto, please mute the mic if there are noises behind.
It's muted. They both.
I want to say this, Celeste. Yeah, I want to say this. I agree with you. I grew up in a place called Willowvale. We had mealie fields. We produced mealies, pumpkins, beans, and melons. And that was our sustenance and our daily meals. We had fresh vegetables. And also, it was part of our schooling, agriculture. Every child in my school had a plot so that you can plant something on it. That means it was part of curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing it at school, also at home. I don't know now because I passed my matric 1994. I was 20. But I want to say this, Celeste, in what you're saying. There is a guy that I look at here in Amtata. You can tell the guy is educated, he's clean. He goes, I don't know whether he bakes those muffins himself, but he is not ashamed to walk the streets of Amtata with those muffins. He does neat, goes to saloons and I'm telling you, that man won't go home hungry. And there's one thing that I like what Festo says. We need to remember this. Choices we make us or break us.
Mm-hmm.
You may be a graduate and then the investment was done on you. But at the moment, there is something maybe you can, I always say, in any business, you need passion. You can start something and try to sell it and see, or not these popular things like forever. I'm not putting them down, but this guy is baking muffins. There's another lady. She goes to all the offices, knock. She bakes pancakes. She carries honey and what you call the other thing. These things. Well, if you want them with honey, she just put it there. We can do those things in our communities because it doesn't. You don't need to be a graduate to bake. You don't need to be to have a small garden where you grow your own spinach and you sell it, or your own cabbage, but we need to look beyond because there was a term not long ago in South Africa. It was popular, vukuzenzela, wake up and do it yourself. Yeah, it was a concept. I think it was during the time of Thabo Mbeki. The term was saying vukuzenzele. That means wake up and do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Than to expect somebody on the 25-15 to give you a salary or peanuts. That's what I want to put it so that Pumlan or whoever Celeste can come in.
Okay, I think, yeah, thank you, Lois. Pumlani, you can come in. Let me check your mic. Yeah, okay, you can come in. Your mic is on.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
To everyone. No, ma'am, what I see and what I have learned, the system of this country is not working for all. We can talk everything, speak about everything, but the bone of the citizen of this country, bones, are not happy. We can talk everything. The system is killing everyone who is a citizen.
Okay, sorry.
Like, look, like right now, we can talk about to make a market, to do something and go to the street and selling. The government has taken the different countries of people.
Pumlani, I need to stop you. Can I stop you first? I did say what I want to do with this discussion is leave the government out of this. I want to focus on what we can do for ourselves and then for the community. Because I've already said it many times, the government is useless. So let's imagine they don't exist. This is our community. What are we going to do to, especially crime? I'm not even talking about looking for jobs, I'm talking about, because there's a few things. So the first thing we want to focus on is crime, because in the community there's crime, there's a few things,
But ma'am,
crime, disorganization, the way it looks filthy. I want to talk about those things, okay? And
you see,
so what I
you
want
see
us
the
to,
crime.
sorry, what
You
I want
see
us
the crime.
to focus on is what can we
You see,
do?
ma'am.
Okay, right,
You see the crime.
right.
There is no crime here in South Africa, ne? This thing of this name of we call crime, ne? Ma'am, it is a big issue. If you go deep down and think, ma'am, you see. So we can talk about criminals, you see, crime. Those people are crying too. They don't have anything. Even education doesn't pay back. It is the cause of this system. We can talk about everything, ma'am.
Okay, can I stop you there again? Because I think you came late.
Okay.
The other thing is, I am not talking about poor people. I'm talking about people of middle class, because the poor people is a totally different situation. I don't want to talk about them now, because that's a bit more intense. Because I explain to people there is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Right at the bottom tier, it's tiers, how you move yourself up in life. So the bottom tier is your basic needs, which is food, shelter, safety. That's right at the bottom. So if someone is online, you can actually look it up. I should have gone online. Then there's a second tier. Then there's a third tier. Now I'm talking about the third tier people. This means people who have a home, they have food, and they have a job. Why do I hear myself talking? They have a job. Okay? But in their community, there is still crime. It is still happening, because when it's theft and burglary, it will be in those communities, because the thief is not going to go steal in the squatter camp, right? Because in the squatter camp, what can he steal? Those people are poor, they've got nothing. They come to the middle class and the rich, the upper class areas, because there's cars, there's money, and I'm talking about this middle class people, where you have people, because when people are committing crime because of poverty, because they are hungry, I all said this already as well, we can kind of understand. But again, if you are hungry and you are not living in poverty in the poor area, you're living in the middle class, if you are hungry, your neighbors have food, you can go there and ask for food, because I bet you within that community someone will give you food. You won't have to go hungry. There will be
Can I
one
come in,
auntie
Celeste?
there that will give you food, or your cousin, somebody will give you food. Okay? What I'm talking about
Can
is,
I come in?
like I said, it's just hold on, is that community. Okay? So who is that wants to come in? Hi, who's that wants to come in?
Fisto?
Fisto Fire.
Yeah, Fisto.
Okay, go on.
Yeah. Celeste, I think I slightly understand what you want to do. You specifically want to discuss a certain narrow issue, which is fine. I understand.
Yes.
I think I also came a bit late.
I want to talk
I think
about
I came a
us,
bit late.
about me and you
Yeah,
and you and you and you. Yeah.
yeah, as you are explaining it now, it makes a little bit of sense. However, if we're going to discuss crime, there's these lower people that I will just call it lower. I don't
The
know to
from the lower,
categorize them. Class one, class one.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
them is class one or whatever. They have to come in, unfortunately, because it's also what I just said. The South African system. At the middle class neighborhood, almost everybody there is comfortable. Almost, not everybody, because we might not know individual households, right?
Mm-hmm.
But why is there a crime in those middle class neighborhood. It's not the citizens of those neighbors who are actually committing crime in their own neighborhoods. Those are the people from the lower end who are actually coming to those areas to look for something to eat.
Exactly. So that's what I want to talk about. Yes. That you see, that's what I want to talk about, because I want to talk about the community. Because first of all, like I don't know if you were here on my other podcast, my other live stream, because I live in a middle class community. We are very strict about who comes into our community. Very strict. Very, very strict. But because that's just how we are in our community. And ours is very middle class. Mine is predominantly black community. Few colors here and there. I think 3 white people. Because they married to black people. Yeah. But so that is exactly because what I want to do to get us to understand, it is your community. So you have to set the standard and the boundary and the restrictions for your community. So the security, everything has to be controlled by the community, street by street by street. That is exactly what I'm talking, because in our community, you'll see one person that doesn't belong there. Somebody will be on their back. Somebody. Because we have security. And the security is other men in our community that have volunteered to do it.
Let me give you this scenario, Celeste. Hence, I said on the beginning, I've mentioned the system. I'll go again because I truly want you to understand this thing about crime. Celeste, I don't know your neighborhood. I don't know where you're coming from, but to me, it seems as if you only know what you see and your surrounding. Remember, the people who are committing crime to your streets that you can control. It's easy to manage and control suburbs. Even in the black townships, it's very easy.
No, I don't live in a suburb. I live in a township.
I'm making an example. No.
Yeah,
I'm making an example.
I only want to talk about townships.
All right.
Only townships, no suburbs.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, I'm saying, remember other township. I don't know your township, but other townships, they are, I don't want to say people from squatter camps, they are the only one who are committing crime. However, there's an interlink. There's an interlinked, hence I said the system. Number one, I travel. I travel and I've got an experience of going to a certain country. They will want you when you apply for a visa, they will want you a bank statement. Mm-hmm. And they will ask you how many days and months are you going to spend in this particular country. Now, in our country, it's free for all, right? Now, you know why do they want the business, your banking detail, your bank statement and all? They just want to understand how much do you have, and then is this amount of money it's in your account going to cover you for this a number of days? In South Africa, there's nothing like that, because you invite illegal immigrants who are not going to get employed in that country, right? Now, obviously, even if they can sell tomatoes on the street, you can actually see, because you know the township, you can actually see the competition on the vendors. Now, there are people who are not going to sell tomatoes, but they're actually going to do crime, because crime, it pays better than selling tomatoes, right? There's one guy right now, as we speak, in this panel, who is in some a foreign land besides South Africa, who really wants to come to South Africa because he wants to come steal cars because they make good money. Now those kind of things, it's difficult to control, because others, they don't stay with us in our neighborhood. They come from other township to your neighborhood. Even if you can right now, I'm from Sprayview. 3 weeks ago, I saw a video on TikTok. Metro Police, people are doing their own boarded gates now. I'm sure everybody have seen that, those kind of things. You know, I can tell you that I've seen metropolis who are taking those things down. I've seen metropolis who are taking, there was a video that was circulating, and beside the videos, I know some other township people are doing that, and metropolis will come and say, by laws, they don't allow you to do this. Now, because of these legal dynamics, they are interlinked. It's a system, government system. Yes, I don't want to talk about government. However, we are, as said earlier on, we are going to have this kind of a discussion for the next 30 years because there are little things, there are basic principles that we need to deal with them. Then your topic, it's going to be easy for us to do, and the middle class people to come together and assist those who've got nothing, because now the criminal elements will be written out of the system of South Africa. Now we will be dealing with people who want to do well. Now, I'm dropping now. I'm landing now. And you know, I always say this to my peers when we have this kind of discussion, that look at the Muslims. Look at the Muslims.
Fisto, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
No, not really. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry. I was saying, I normally have this kind of discussion with my peers that we must look at the Muslim community, the Jews. How do they do this? They inherit stocks. They inherit business. It's a system that they've created for themselves. These two nations. However, the problem is our government needs to assist. Yes, we can do what you're planning to do. We can come in. However, the number won't be as great as maybe you would hope for, because for us to be okay, to take care of my kids and to take care of the next person, I need to be okay. But how do I become okay? We self-employed. How do I get funded for me to become a proper businessman, for me to employ and for me to assist in your program that you want to start? I need to be comfortable. I can have brains, I can have plans, but my plans for them to kickstart, I need a funding from government. The government that is corrupt, that is actually chowing the money that is supposed to come to the people. Now, Celeste, my point is, it's a mixture of
your sound is off again. Your sound is not good.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let me just land. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just land, yeah.
Okay, I think Tyrone was next, right? Tyrone, you are new, so just so you know, please I don't want to talk too much about what the government is not doing. I want you to talk about what you think the problem is and what you think we can do to solve it in our communities. We are now talking about crime in the community.
Yes. Hello, guys. You see, to everybody, we leave the economic discrimination. What the lady said, the social discontent, all of that. We leave it. We know what we live in, right? We know we have a massive economic disparity. We know that, we understand it, but guys, there is so many solutions in our communities. Now, for me, that's in my late 40s, right? Now, this was a thing in the past. You see, in the private sector, I always say I won't speak of the public sector. The public sector is different from the private sector. Guys, if you are a manager in a company, in a private sector company, and I want to make this clear, if people and whoever wants to debate me on this can come, because I know what I'm speaking about. If you are top management in the private sector, a black man or a colored man, guys, this is not the public sector. You can still make jobs for people in your community. And I know that for a fact. You can come on here and tell me that I'm bullshitting, which I know. I know for a fact I can bring in people, which we always do because we bring in our family members that don't have matric. No matter the industry, you can work at Telkom, you can work at Transnet, at Spornet. If you have a management position, you can bring in friends, family, whoever in your community when there is workers needed because you go to HR, you are higher than HR. You go to HR, you tell HR, I have 6 people that is willing to work and that is willing to learn. I'm going to bring them in tomorrow morning. Do you think HR is going to argue with you? Because that is your department. Because in the past, I know for a fact, I matriculated 1995. I know for a fact, people, I'm from Kabega, Port Elizabeth. There was an auntie working at Aspen. Aspen, guys, pharmaceutical company. I couldn't agree more. Okay. Aspen's pharmaceutical company, a multi-billion dollar company. A multi-billion dollar company in Port Elizabeth. That lady said, Espen need workers. She took the whole street to go casual. Guys, she took the whole street teenagers that didn't have jobs. All they wanted is the IDs. She took everyone's IDs and she took it in. And today, most of them are permanent there. And it's 2025. If people don't know this in our communities, if you have a skill, right, and you're doing a private job, at your house, you know what is the problems in your community. You go ask the people. You don't have to pay that. You don't have to pay the teenagers. You tell the parents. You don't even ask. You tell the parents, listen here. You complain there's no jobs. Now at my house, I'm doing welding, I'm doing gates. So I want the children to see what I'm doing. They need to do this. They need to see what I'm doing. They need to learn. And from there, I'll teach them how to weld in the beginning. That is how you start in your community. Guys, I'm gonna give someone else a chance. I'm gonna go back later.
Thanks, Tyrone. Yeah, that is the kind of things I want to hear. Okay, I want to hear what can we do. Before I get to Pumi, let me just give another example. What I do is I take these young girls who like to, look good, shine, and I teach them facial skills. Okay, and then I help them. I'm sure you'll know what I mean, facial skills, right? For how to do facials for people. Okay, and then I help them set up like a mobile, we call it mobile beauty spa. So they have a little basket with all their stuff in there. And then they go from house to house asking, does anyone want a facial? It costs so much, because I teach them all of this. So they have their own little mobile spa. They are beauticians now. Okay, I even get them certified because I know the people who do that. And some of them have now branched out. They're all going into the suburbs doing this kind of thing. But this is what I mean. This is for people who want money. Okay, but there's other things also that I do when it comes to morality and things like that. Okay, but I want to see if there's more of this kind of thing that we can talk about. Okay, let's bring in Pumi.
Greetings, everyone. I hope everyone.
Hi. Oh, it's supposed to be crime.
So besides TikTok, way back in them days, I saved a friend who was on drugs, who came to clean up, and he sort of, I think you can see he's from Pretoria. If you scroll on TikTok, is usually going to people's places, coming to your house if you've got a drug addict and saving people. So it is called word on the street, words.
Words on the street.
Yes, word on the street. I think they although you'll find Tumi's number there. You can contact him if you need proper help, especially for with this powder scourge that is happening, because I changed province, but I'm in a different space right now. But I quickly want to say something that is very disturbing. I see a lot of people are looking for skills. I think that's one of the serious problems that we're finding ourselves in South Africa, where we are saying we want the Chinese to come and invest, we want the Indians to come and invest, when in an actual fact, we do not need anyone.
Mm-hmm.
We are exporting necessary skills. Black, white, and colored Indian are moving away from South Africa because we do not appreciate our own skills in South Africa. We suffer from self-hate. They would rather recruit someone else coming from another country and give him that position and give him that proper salary that it was meant for one of us. I'm saying this because I think we need more voices. I don't think there's something wrong with the police. I think politically there is no will. There is no will. There's every year we are recruiting numbers. We are becoming a state that is becoming very vicious. Why? We've got people that do not have any idea what they're doing. They don't. They come there, they kick and scream and say, "Hey, we want tendering." Cutting grass in your own community, cutting grass. Do I need a tender for that?
No.
Do I need a tender for kids to eat? It's simple things that are happening, and it's like I don't know. I don't know. We are becoming zombies as South
Right.
Africans. As when I look at it, we are becoming zombies. We are becoming something that we are not. We are a very resilient country, actually. Everyone expected South Africa to fail after 1994. We came out to be, we are the backbone of Africa. Look at Traore said, no, I'm not going to bring any country. China, just sell me I'll build the roads. Just sell me the equipment. Simple. I'll use the same people because we are made to think that we do not have necessary skills. I'm sorry. I'm also a little bit political, but I think I'm slowly but surely moving away from politics because I keep on hearing this rhetoric that no, we must do something with China, we must do something with Russia. I'm like, no, guys, no. Yes, we can buy the necessary equipment, but we start at home.
Mm-hmm.
Start teaching our kids the necessary skills. Knitting. We don't have the textile industry. We do not have it anymore. I'm talking about there was a place in Joburg when I grew up that in that road, South Africans that were creating different types of label in the 90s. We do not have those things. We do not have a simple factory that just for a match, we do not have such things. When you try and build such factories, you find a lot of red tape. Who do you know? You must pay a lot of people. Some of us that are creators are ending up getting fed up because you're thinking, I mean, why must I pay this person if I'm gonna do everything according to books? But no, you see, that idea, or they take your idea, they
Mm.
use it. You're not even protected by your own government. You look at the guy that created Please Call Me, a revolutionary movement that was done in South Africa. It was created in South Africa. It spread it out worldwide. It started in South Africa, but the person, when he's asking what he is deserving, they're saying, no, you build it with our own equipment. I'm like, my guy, think this thing benefiting till today. This guy is not benefiting anything. Where's your conscience? Where's governments where it's supposed to be hitting hard and saying, I'm gonna make you an example? We do not have the political will. I don't think there's so much problems in South Africa. I think we've got people with solutions, but we do not like them.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, we hate ourselves. I blame us. We hate ourselves because when great minds come, we start judging. We look at what they're doing, who they're associating with. We look at political, stance, and I think we are regressing, we're going back. That is
Pumi,
why people can just jump and go to America and say, we, the people of the land, we are unaliving certain people. It's easy, and nothing will happen to them. There's no movement in South Africa that says that these people, in fact, all this movement, we do not want them in our land. We do not want these people in our land. We try and
Pumi, you know,
yes, sir.
I want to say this. Sorry to interject.
Okay, Lois, come in.
Yeah, you know, we need a situation where we don't give people a fish. We give them,
Yes,
as Celeste said, we give them a fishing rod and teach them how to fish. Because
exactly.
if you give someone a fish, you feed him for the day, or as long as that fish is there. But if you give a person a fishing rod, that person is sustained and maintained for the life. You know, and I like, because Celeste spoke about practicality of what she is doing. But do we have people who are hungry enough to take that fishing rod that is provided by Celeste and other people and not undermine it and see it? Because it takes passion to do anything successfully. You need to love it, because everything has its ups and downs. Yeah, I like what Pumi says, you know. Let me just talk about this country. If we have a willpower, it's the richest country when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to forestry, everything. Even in my village, most of the mealie fields are lying fallow because I don't know, we became what is called the microwave lazy generation. That's a fact. If we want something, we want it now. You know, we don't want to sweat for it. We want it now. We are a microwave lazy generation. That is a fact. Up until we move, I don't say everybody, some, you know, up until we move away from being accepting a fish for now and say, teach me how to fish, give me a fishing rod and teach how to fish so that I can fish and sell. It's not literally fish, but give me something that I can use to make my sustenance. You know, that's my submission.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here because also what I want to add is, the thing is, you know, teaching people skills, education, all of this stuff. This is one part of the person. But I feel what is lacking a lot in our communities is we are not teaching character. There is not enough investment, even in the homes. Because I can see the way people speak when they're online. They are so rude. You know, even in the home, we are not teaching values, principles, morals, respect, discipline, all these kind of things. Because you see, you need to have this because this is the foundation that you need in order to be successful. Because you can be the best plumber in the world or whatever, the best, you can be the rocket scientist. But if you don't have your character in place, you know, all, like I said, all the discipline, because discipline is something that has to be instilled. It's not a skill. It has to be instilled all the time, from the time you are small. It's something, responsibility, accountability. So for me, it's more when I'm talking about how we can help the community. Because even when I see how the young people talk now, because everything is so superficial, everything is just given or expected. There is this drive, again, let me just compare to when we were young. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but it just is like that. Because for us, when we were growing up, what drove us was because we wanted to be free. We wanted to be seen as equal humans. So most of our education that we were getting, like I told people early on, we used to go to Witsco. Witsco was this co-curricular activity that was provided by Wits University in Johannesburg. In Cape Town, it was called Shawco, which was University of Cape Town. I was a youth leader for Witsco and for Shawco. But as a child, because I was in Johannesburg, I used to just attend as a student, extracurricular student. But in these extracurricular activities, what they were teaching us was building the character, so that you, because in our time they had to make sure that we, although we were told we subhumans, that we had to rise above that and not think that that is what we are. We had to still see, I'm someone that's worthy. I'm a worthy human being. Doesn't matter what they say. I'm second class, third class. I'm not even a class. It doesn't matter. So that is what they were doing there, teaching us all this to build character. That's why it didn't matter what was told to us. Now you just tell the young person one thing and it's like, oh, I'm so triggered. Boo, I'm going to die. I want to kill myself. This kind of thing. Triggered for small things. Oh, you call me a non-white. Oh, I need to die. How dare you call me a non-white? Because you are. If you're not white, you're non-white. Example. Our days, they used to say K words, call us the worst thing, animal, monkey, baboon. It didn't matter, because that is the spirit that was put into us. Now, I feel in our communities, we don't have this anymore. Everything is very superficial. It's very, like we say, we're talking only about skill. Of course, you need that. We talk about education, which is lacking a lot in South Africa, but you need that. You need your biology, history. You need all that. But we need more than that. And before, we used to get from the church, which also played a big role in our lives, because the church was helping us not to become like real terrorists. Because we were terrorists. I was always an activist. But I'm sure if someone had to say, take a bomb, throw it there and kill 30 white children to show that we want freedom, because that could have happened. But then we had the church that was also there, teaching us, no, it doesn't matter what the circumstance, do not use violence. It was always that, so we had that. Like I say, we had Witsko teaching us that we are worthy. Doesn't matter what anybody says. Then we had school, where you learn things about, the world, about school, the academics. I find in our communities now, all this is lacking. And also now, there's too many loskenners. I don't know if you'll speak Afrikaans. There's too many illegitimate children. In my days, in my community, I was the only child from a broken home. Only me. 1,000 students in our school. Only me. It was the most shameful thing that could have happened to any person during my time. Okay? Now, if your parents are married or they're still together, I think it's like you the odd one now. You see, so things have changed. And we need to also concentrate on that part of the human being, not just all this other things. Because this is what drives you at the end, that makes you want to go forward. Okay, sorry, I got a bit carried away there. So who wants to go on? Because I see Tyrone because Pumi just spoke. Tyrone, do you want to say anything?
Like I said, guys, like Celeste also said, I don't know. I always hear different views of people when they want to speak. Like it's a different era. Yeah, but our kids, you need to give our kids a bit of slack. It doesn't work like that. If you're the breadwinner in your house, if it's your house, you get up early in the morning, you clock in, you work, they at home, they go to school, they still have that freedom. Us that is slaving away don't have that freedom. So there is no person on my property and in my house that's going to tell me how I'm going to raise my kids, because you must remember how it works nowadays. I see people come, I see people speak, and it's always people. If Celeste is a doctor, I was never interested in finishing school or wanted to go or wanted to do my tertiary education. But I'm not a doctor, and I want to tell Celeste how to do her job. It is like this nowadays, guys. If you have a child and you want your child to succeed, you have to push your child. Your child can't tell you, because I don't think people realize what is happening in our industries. I heard Pumi said the lack of skill. Pumi, you're right. If I did say private and public sectors are different. So in public sector, the people will decide, and top management decide who they want and what race they want. In the private sector, guys, it does not work like that. The other thing is there's the skill. In the private sector is so different because it determines it hangs it comes from the customer. The customer push the company for production to go out. They need the parts or they need whatever they want overseas. So now I have to get 10 people that has the skill. Guys, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna employ 10 people that have the skill but don't have matric. That is the good thing of the private sector. That is the good thing of private sector, because the company wants people now with a skill. Guys, this is 2025 and it works like that in the private sector. The company wants people with a skill, right? And I have to get them 10 people tomorrow morning. So I'm going to look, but I see yesterday there's a lot of matriculants. They don't have the skill. I can't take them. We need the work to go out. I'm going to take these guys. I'm going to put them on the line tomorrow morning. Now there's production, right? Without matric, it works like that. The public sector, I don't care about the public sector because I don't know about the public sector. That's why I'm going to say I'm not going to speak of that. But now, guys, the education of our children when they are in matric, guys, when you go to varsity, right? There's certain things that you want to study, and Mr. Lois know me. I have my MBA in business. I've showed it to many people, and people in social media knows it. Guys, if you need to study for a certain, I don't know how to explain this. You want to become an engineer, you need certain subjects to pass. You need a certain grade to come in at university. If your child pass with a 30% pass rate in matric, do you think the university is going to accept your child even though your child passed? They're going to take the child that passed with 40%. They're not, it works like that at varsity, guys. I don't know how to explain this. In the subjects, guys, the subjects, you leave your children to do what they want to do and to study and to learn and to take what they want to take at high school. It does not work like that. The world does not work like that. Stop saying your child won't succeed in maths because she's struggling in maths or he is struggling in maths. Then you get a tutor. Then you push your children. Nobody in your house ever say X, but you want to complain because there's no job for your child, but your child took subjects that doesn't even match what your child wanted to do on university. It doesn't work like that, guys, man. Now your child sat at home. Now you want to cry and say it's the government when it started in your house. And people don't understand this. You have to evaluate evidence before we attack.
Very well.
Lois, you want to say something?
Very well said. Lois?
Yes. I want to say this. And I like how Celeste said no, because at the moment, I wanna, I grew up in Willowvale. There was this man. He had a shop in our village, couple of trucks and buggies. Most of us learned to drive in his business. In those days, what do we call ubuntu? The term umntu ngumuntu, gabantu ngesiXhosa. I am because of who you are. Most of us, we learned driving from his business, but also that was productive for him because we used to deliver bricks, cement. He had a kind of a cottage, but in a village. We used to fetch sand and deliver. That gave us some skill then that was needed, because driving was also a scarce skill then, but it's a common one now. Then most people, I remember those days, managed to get jobs like bus drivers, truck drivers, and all those things. But it started from who he was and what he was doing for his village. And not that, also he took some to school up until matric, and those who were willing past matric, because in our time, it used to, there was a saying, it takes a village to raise a child. But now in this generation, with high walls, closed gates, and guys, just to give us something that gave us what is called social cohesion. We had outdoor games, we had outdoor games that were contributing to us to grow up together. Now our children have gadgets. They have TV stations, or what you call, PlayStations. They come home, they sit behind the screen, they play PlayStation. No outdoor games. We have what are called couch potatoes. They don't socialize with others. And even if you see them like a group, everyone is looking on his or her own phone. No socialism. They don't socialize. They can't equip, or term an iron sharpens an iron. They can't equip each other. The friends that I still have are the friends I knew them from when we were young. We're still communicating with. Through that, we used to wear, I don't know whether Tyrene knows, we used to wear, I don't know whether he grew up, I know he's from a PE. We used to make cars with wire, and put, sniff as wheels, those sniff, and we drive those things, and outside, it were outside door games, and if you won, has a ball. It was like a community ball, like a soccer ball. We were all gonna play that ball. It wasn't. It's me. It's mine, and it's for myself and those who are close to me. We grew with that, and we took that, but now we have these high walls, fence, and now it also that can be credited to cry. In the villages, we used to sleep with doors not even locked, just closed, locked, and nothing will be stolen, nothing will happen. That is the life that we live. And I remember the other games. I don't know what it was called in English, but we used to put tins, and then you throw some tennis ball in them, and I don't know what that game was called. And then somebody will come and try to put those things, and will chase them with that ball. And also that in the physique of us, it was working, because though we were not exercising as like exercise, but we were running and doing those were outdoor games than to sit and become couch potatoes. And the parents are encouraging this. They are making popcorns for you so that you can sit here. Hence now we have this generation that we have. Yes, there can be challenging technology, but somehow we are creating a system, and with us having TV stations, it's like, we are living in a civilized generation and world. But what are we doing? As I'm saying, I remember I went, if not last year, December, year before last, there was a funeral in the village. I said, you know what? We learned how to live, to be really human beings. And we learned, this village molded and shaped us to be people that we are today, because we were raised here, and every child was for the community. Nobody took it, and they will slaughter cows. I remember my grandmother, when maybe she slaughter, we used to farm pigs. Then when my family slaughter a pig, I'll be running around the whole village, taking ribs to that place, taking half of the leg to that place. And now I'm like, I feel bad, because I'm becoming a victim of something that was done, that is good, done in my family. But also, when they slaughter something, we're also gonna get from them. That was the life in our village. But where is that life now?
Can I say something quick, brother? Can I say something quick?
Yes.
You see, I have a boy, right? He's spoiled rotten. So, but he loves by his mother. Them his mother. Them is well known in Port Elizabeth. Good family, all of that spoil him. Now he's not by me, right? But I let him sleep. I let his family and I let him sleep every weekend at home. Every weekend. I don't let the weekend pass because the stories I heard, they spoil him and he's driving a car and blah blah. Guys, in my house, I have a massive swimming pool. There's everything for my children. But in my house, you see the problem that our people have, our adults have. What you said, but Lois, like the children is behind high walls and now they're sitting with us. Guys, if it's exam, you take the gadgets. If you guys, that is the law. If it's exam, you take the gadgets. That is what I do. I take the phones because phones is a distraction. Guys, there is no way my children just gonna use the swimming pool. Do you know what? They ask to use it. If their friends wants to come over, you don't do things without my permission. I am young. I am still in my 40s, but I'm old school. That is how I grew up, and that is why I am here today. The success I have, no matter the different era. You see, the different era is we change it for our children because we think, oh no, we need to give them because we didn't have. And what I didn't have, we need to give it out, give our children. No, guys, no, that is a lame excuse because I hear every day thousands of people saying the same thing. You want your child to be successful, but you allow your child to be a bullshit child. It doesn't work like that, guys. Guys, in your house, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, that's what you say.
But Lois, I just want to say something. Yes. I know you know that my grandfather's a black man, right? Now all of a sudden, I know Africans how strict they are. Now all of a sudden the Africans of nowadays, they are like, they don't care. It's mind-boggling for me to see African people, Xhosa people don't care, whereas those years African people, guys, when we were at high school, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, there was no African girl or boy that smoked. Show me an African boy or girl that smoked those years. Colors was smoking, but the African boy and girl, African children did not smoke because they were so respectful. Guys, but nowadays, I see on social media African youth with beers. What do their family think? What do their grandparents think? What are their mothers think? No, man, no, but Lois, I think you guys went wrong somewhere, man. I have to say it really.
Let me tell you, Tyrone, we didn't know, what I learned, we didn't have a distinction between being civilized and also being spoiled. Let me tell you, though in my days I used to feel bad, I feel like my mother and my aunt were depriving me of life. When I moved from Willowvale to East London, I started staying in Tanzania. There was no help at home. I used to cook. Like my mother would tell me, I can't go to work and then come back and cook for you. And I used to cook. And do all the chores. And at that time, all my buddies are sitting in the corner. I never smoked. Yes, as a young man, I drank alcohol, but I stopped when I was 25. I was in the army then. That was 1999 when I stopped drinking. I never drank at all from then. But what you're saying, Tyrone, first of all, it's like, I don't know whether they feel like they are civilized or modern. They don't just, you know what, let me tell you. When I was drinking then, my mother knew that I was drinking. I never drank at home. She never saw. My mother can deny that her son was drinking because she never saw me drunk in her life. She never saw me drunk. That's how disciplined we were. You know, she used to tell me, if you're sitting there in that corner, now I can't switch on the lights. You must come and switch on the lights and make sure there's supper and everything. Wash the dishes if it's not your turn to cook. You know, that brought discipline. And now, let me tell you, Tyrene, I said in another platform, we started by, okay, if my children are speaking English with accent, yeah, that seems good. They started speaking English with accent as if their nose are closed. And then we think that, yeah, we are civilized. My children are going to a model school, but when we are home, we speak Xhosa. That's standard. You know, I'm not dead, I'm not dead, you know, whatever the accent they are using. Simple. Even I'm talking with them on the phone. Tata kunjani, unjani mntanam. I don't want this dead thing, because that's why we lose it. Then you're gonna compromise, because they will say everybody's doing it. They start smoking in your own house, in your own yard. What are you gonna say? They're smoking in your premises, and they bring the. I saw your swimming pool, Tyrene, and I think you have a bull. You know, is it a bull? Your dog. I saw even your dog in the swimming pool. No.
Yeah, it's Rottweilers.
Rottweiler, yeah, Rottweiler, Sodman, Rottweiler, yeah, yeah. And now in that you maintain discipline. They won't break. We start to acknowledge, they speak English. You know, that's how we started. We allowed. I don't say it was a bad thing. They had a social grouping that didn't have our own beliefs and culture. And now, when they don't want to smoke around their peers, they say, you don't understand, and they compromise. You know what, Tyrene? There were things that in our village were accepted. Like, they were accepted. They were kind of, people will understand. At least a young boy can drink. It was kind of understood, at a certain age. But it wasn't accepted. It was a taboo for a woman to drink. It was not even in a principle. It was a taboo for a woman to drink. Let alone, I remember those days, there was what was called crossbow cider, in my generation. Even they used to say, I don't drink the Selitot. Even if you drink those crossbow ciders, it was a taboo. That's the generation that I'm coming from. I'm 51 years now, and I can credit some disciplines in my life to what then I saw it as deprivation or a punishment, but they helped me to be a person that I am today.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks, Lois. We have Kulani that wants to come in, because I saw you from the beginning. Come in, Kulani.
Hi, I'm just listening. I will come when I'm okay. I just want to hear.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So interesting what Lois and Tyrone were saying. You see, both of them agree that everything has to start in the home, and there has to be it has to be structured with good morals and values and discipline and all that stuff. Because then from there you take it into the community. But then what happens also is, you see, once the children come into the community, they mix in the school with other kind of people, they mix with other people that might have other values and other disciplines. But that is why even the entire community must try to have the same, there must be structure in the community, and standards have to be set in the community, so that any misbehavior, anything that goes out of the standards, it must be put to an end immediately. And this must even apply to the taxi drivers, because I know the taxi drivers, they can run rogue. But all of this has to be controlled by the members of the community. And someone said something just now, about the Muslims and the Jews. I don't know who was this. Someone said about the inherited, how Muslims and Jews, they keep the business in the company, the money, like, you know, in the family. That's why it will be like Smith and Sons, Naidu and Sons, because they keep the thing they keep everything in the family. But another thing I want to talk about, what I admire about the Muslim communities, Jewish communities, Indian communities, not all, but a lot of them, okay? And then the white communities, especially like Orania. What I admire about those communities is they always set very high standards for their community, very high standards, and they're very strict. And everybody abides by the standards of the community. Children, everybody, if one child is vandalizing, some auntie will put them straight. If one taxi is speeding down the road, they will get put straight. And when I'm talking about Indians, I'm talking about those in Phoenix. Those in Phoenix, that when those people were looting and all that, they just took out their guns and shot them. I'm talking about those people who are very strict. And also, what is this? There's one group in Cape Town, there's one Muslim group who also in their community, you cannot step out of line. You cannot think you coming from some other country and come into their community and mess it up. Or you can't think you from some other community and you come in there and you start stealing things or looting or murdering people. It will not happen, because they have such high standards in their community and everybody is on the same wavelength. Everybody is vibrating to the same frequency. There isn't one that's, I don't care. I will ride like I want to ride. And if I want to sell drugs, I want to sell drugs. No, they all strict, because the person who is selling the drugs, it's not possible, because that person is living in a house with other people and other people in the house will not stand for it. Whereas I find in most of our communities where there's a lot of crime, it's because we allow the thugs to just take over. It's just like, you know, your son is the one selling the drugs in your house, you know, but nothing is, you don't do anything. And then you know your neighbor's daughter is the one coming to buy the drugs. You don't do anything, and the neighbors, they don't do anything about the daughter. And then this continues. You know that neighbor's son is stealing watches and stopping people at the shopping mall and taking their phones. You know that. But, oh, well, you know, I don't want to do anything because... So this is what happens, because we have dropped the standards in the community. So I think we need to get this back, and I need to finish soon because it's already it's almost midnight where I am. So I just want to say, like, that's why there has to be, like, in the community, there must first be this thing that the community agrees on everything. And there should be watchdogs in the community. You know, those that care about the security of the community, those that watch that everything has been done, like everybody behaves accordingly. You know, the place has to be like everybody's grass on the pavement must be cut if anything is broken. You know, and in the community, there are people who are bricklayers. There are people who are construction workers. There are people who are plumbers. Everybody can help to fix things up, because that's what we used to do in our communities. We used to the community will come together and fix things. If people need money, we will have fetes. A fete is where the people cook food and cakes, they bake cakes and then they sell it, and then that money goes to, like I said the last time, like to beautify our park, to buy burglar bars for the shop because it's just safer if the shop has burglar bars, all those kind of things. We're not doing any of these things anymore. We don't do, wait, there's some rude person here. Wait, good evening, non-white auntie. I don't know if this person is trying to be funny because, or if you're just being nice or whatever, I don't understand. Anyway, my name is Celeste. You don't have to call me auntie. And you don't have to tell everybody I'm non-white, because I'm sure everybody can see. And just for anybody else who's swearing here, everybody on here, we are not peasants. So please do not swear at us, because there is nobody on here that's a peasant or subhuman. When you come on my live stream, you will be respectful, because this morals that I'm talking about will start here on my platform, where everybody behaves civilly. Okay? Sorry, coming back to this. Yeah. So, yeah, let's try and do these things for our communities. You know, be more, take part in the community. Let's try not to make excuses. And most importantly, like I said, we have to, you see how rude, look, it's here in front of your eyes. Earlier on, remember, for those who were here since earlier on, the white guy that was swearing here, I had to remind him, you know, we are not peasants. Nobody on here is a peasant. Nobody on here needs to be disrespected. Nobody. We have to start with each other. And then when we start with each other, we carry it forth into the public, so that we don't steal, do drugs and all the stuff, because you do this stuff, because these kind of things, because you have no respect for the other person's property or for the other person's worth as a human being. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about that.
Yeah, before I go, I just want to say this. We see what the Jews and others are doing in how they profit, right? Us Africans, guys, us Africans, if I see our people don't do this, right? Us Africans, they should use those who went through trauma, through apartheid, through a lot of things. And even today, if white people attack us, guys, use your pain and turning it into profit. And leave the excuses, because every time we do this, there's excuses, because they know Africans are soft people, are caring people. Now they use that against us. Guys, use your pain, turn it into profit. Take the people to court, get a lawyer, profit from it, and buy something for you where you can where you can do something about it. You can even get a little money and buy a small house. You start from that, profit from your pain, guys. You see what us Africans do. When I don't understand this, guys. I really don't understand when we get married. Guys, I'm that person, and I wish people can truly know me and ask in Port Elizabeth the type of person I am. Guys, when I got, there's no such thing as I took money. How can I take I don't know what people are buying, right? So now people bringing irons and this that you already have. Do you know what? As Africans, we accept appliances when we get married. Rich people don't take that. Jews take money. They take cash and they do something about it. Look at our people. We just want materialistic things in our communities. It is not worth anything. While rich people, they get properties, even if it's a small house. They get bonds. We always talk about Jewish people, but we just want to talk, but we don't want to go into action. We always talk every day. Guys, if you know you have money in my house, and guys, I always tell my children that they are not going to inherit anything, because I already put them to school. My daughter is at Stellenbosch. She's studying actuary. So she's going to go work. She's going to have her own salary. She's going to make good money. There is no need for me to leave them money, guys, because I'm gonna go on holidays with my money. That is the type of person I am, but I'm gonna leave them properties. So it is up to them what they're gonna do with the properties. How can you leave properties and money? If we ever think of these things, our children just get, so they're gonna waste it, no matter how long and how hard you've worked for it. Guys, in the Jewish, and have you seen that people still from babies, that people work on farms, they farming, they eat from the soil, from vegetables. But our people, I look here, everybody say that Africa is poor. Have you seen how our people live? That is unemployed. If you see our every cent we get is alcohol. Every cent we get is partying. We go on social media, we stand with, do you know how disrespectful it is for me to stand with alcohol and so let them know me and but Lord, you guys know me and I just party, but I come on social media and I complain there's no jobs. The day in the ANC such bad governments, and they don't want to, there's no job and we have nothing to eat. But every weekend I go on social media and I video myself partying with people. Do you know how disrespectful that is? I'm a parasite if I do that and I still complain. We need to think, guys.
You know, Tyrone, on that note, I want to start where you started. The Jewish community is united. I don't know where is this spirit of this generation is coming from. There is what is called the pulling down syndrome. If I see a black brother growing, whether financially, in business or something, we want to pull him down. Instead of saying, go up, my brother, so that you can pull us up where you are. That's what we're supposed to. And as you say, life has already thrown through to us lemons. What we need to do, we must grab them, squeeze them, put sugar on them, and make lemonade. We cannot cry over a spilled milk on a muddy house. That won't help. And if we see a brother growing in something, let's support. I went to Johannesburg, I think it's Edenvale, on the East Rand, where there is a Jewish community. You know those people, even if the bread next to them, in the shop next to them, is not owned by a Jew, is cheaper than what is sold by a Jew. They'll leave your shop with your cheaper bread and they'll justify it's not kosher or kosher, something like that. I don't know what they normally say. Kosher. They will not buy from you, but the justification, your bread is not kosher, but same bread. They'll buy it from a Jewish shop because they want to keep the money within the community. We undermine and look down on each other. It's what is called pulling down syndrome. We must support each other. As you say, the concept of the Jews mustn't be a talk. It must be an action. That means if I see a black brother trying something, you know, I support him or her. You know, I like good food. Let me tell you, because I don't drink. I like good food. There is, you know, those aunties container Tyrone they cook. I buy my food from them. I can easily go. I can afford to buy my food at Nando's, Steers, or wherever on all these fancy restaurants. Because this black person, when I buy that plate from them, it's fitting somebody. You know, it's fitting somebody. But I'll look down and I don't say let's not buy from the other shops and say, but if we have that I am because of who you are, that money must circulate among us. You know, I learned how Afrikaners became rich. Anyway, one African shared with me, said, Loiso, we used to work in these farms. Then the government decided to give it to us. But there was a bank that was then the apartheid government had, and to support them. And that bank will say, okay, well, you grow mealies because in this area, that's what mealies grows. But we're also going to create a market for you to sell that mealies. You know, not just to say grow mealies, I'll finance you, give you tractors and seed and fertilizer. Then they leave you. Pardon me. They create a market. But, pardon me, I think I mustn't say this. The devil is fighting.
You mustn't say that.
Choking.
Are you okay?
I'll say it. Let me drink water.
Okay. In the meantime, Kulani, can you close for us?
Okay.
Because I need to finish the live stream.
Yes, the thing that I want to say, I have an old age at Pichura. The location is Mabopane. Yes,
This is your old age home.
yes, I have it's an old
So
age
that's your
home,
contribution
and
to the society, is it? To the community.
I don't get anything from the society. That's why I used to go to live to people live, and then advertising, and then I didn't get anything. But there's a people that was coming before. When I start, I was having 4 people. Now I have 13 people. Then no one supporting me. Actually, I have a problem of pampas of adult nappy. That is a challenge for me. The adult nappy is a biggest challenge to me. And then when the rain is raining and we don't have the adult nappy, we have a biggest challenge.
Where's this place?
That's my
Mapani
problem.
is where?
Is at Pretoria. The location is Mabopane.
Okay, Pretoria. Okay, I need to check this for you. Okay,
Yes.
people, because I need to go. Luckily, I don't have another live stream. Normally, I have another live stream after this.
Bye. Good night.
Yeah, so everybody, thank you for being here. I hope you have some inspiration. If any questions, you can always come on the next live stream and ask. And thank you so much for everybody who came on the panel. Thank you so much. I hope Lois is okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay,
see you.
guys.
The live was good.
Tyrone, you check on him, please, because he's not online anymore. Okay, guys, ladies, everybody, good night. Well, for me,
Bye.
good night. Good day for you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.